Sneakers and cleats.
Double bass.
Let's get on to the Cowboys here. It's the Spurs playing once again at home tonight against the Rockets. You'll be over there here in a little bit. So Cowboys lost to the 49ers. Big shocker, 30-24. They fall to 3-4 on the season. I feel like they lose to the Niners every year, and every year we have the same conversation that they got out-physical, they got outplayed. And once again, we're having the same conversation for another year. We'll get to the game first, then we'll talk about the Trevon Diggs aspect of it and his precarious actions, I guess. I'll just put it that way. Let's hear from Coach Dak and some of the players after the game first.
We're just, I keep using the word green because I think that's a pretty good illustration of where we are and in segments of our team. Their team, we got to keep working. We did some things, but we got to stop the run and stay committed to the run for 4 quarters. I mean, until we get that pattern, working cohesively together, we're not playing to our strength. I mean, that's a huge part of the complementary football. We're losing the turnover ratio week in and week out, and we're not being able to stop the run and stay committed to the run for 4 quarters. So, that's how we have to play. That's how we're going to play. So. We need to be better at it.
I mean, me personally, frustrated myself that my play. I imagine the rest of the guys are not getting a win. 2 in a row, sitting at 3-4. But I can definitely tell you that nobody's shaking or giving up. Frustration is very high. But it's a long season. I mean, it's a long season. Division games, a lot are still ahead of us. Frustrated. That's the best way that I can put it.
We had a great week of preparation, and we felt good coming into the week. And we just, got outplayed in third quarter, and it ended up biting us at the end of the game. We had a chance. We gave ourselves a chance, but, giving up all those points in the third quarter really came back to bite us. So, good football team. Kudos to them, but we just got to get better.
Pretty bad. It really sucks, especially coming here 3 times the last 3 years. Lost to them. Sickening.
Yeah, I mean, to me, the game came down to a couple of things. The Niners just came out with a sense of FU and a nastiness in the second half that the Cowboys just simply don't have. They don't have the physicality. They don't have that toughness. They never have when they played the Niners, and that's why they get beat by the Niners so consistently. Chuck?
Well, I thought, they played a pretty good first half defensively, right? I mean, at least it looked like they were going to be competitive start to finish, but, you cannot turn the ball over. That first interception that Dak threw was – I don't care what the situation is. You're throwing it up. You're hoping your guy makes a play. You're trying to get the offense going, whatever it is. A 5'9" guy going up against 2 DBs that were right there. Just a horrible decision, even though, the pressure was in Dak's face.
Would it have made a difference? Would it have made a difference to you if you threw it up to CD instead? Because that was Kevontae Turpin. Does that make a difference?
Well, in some ways, yes.
Because he's a 5'7", 5'8" guy instead of CD. I was just curious. To me, that's just one aspect of what we saw last night. The third quarter was, yes, the 49ers exerting their will. The Cowboys were getting away with a couple things. They had a couple of mismatches that weren't going in their favor in the first half that they were able to overcome, make them kick field goals as opposed to getting touchdowns. But you have to play perfect when you're that banged up on defense. And, it's the same old story, right? They did it for a while. They looked good, okay for a while on defense. But at the end of the day, when you're giving up over 200 yards on the ground, that's just – you can't compete at this level if that's going on. To a team that doesn't have a running quarterback, let's just say, and a team that's on their third-string running back. Jordan Mason goes out of the game with a shoulder injury after 6 carries or something like that, and in comes the rookie who was taken 2 picks after the Trey Lance pick that was the Cowboys pick that was traded for Trey Lance, by the way.
Yeah, so, that kid looked pretty good last night, right?
Yeah.
With authority. And,
yeah, absolutely. They looked – the Niners are just a more physical and more complete team.
Look, whenever I hear Dak and Coach McCarthy and those guys talking, it hits me that the Cowboys and a lot of their fans think that they're a lot better than they are. Almost like they're entitled to be a playoff team because they wear the star on their helmet. The bottom line is the Cowboys roster is laughable. It's like Cleveland. It's like Jacksonville. Not that bad, but they don't have depth at any positions. Last night, their running backs were Ezekiel Elliott and Dalvin Cook, two grandfathers.
2019, that would have been such a good backfield.
And the guys in the defensive backs making plays or pass interferences or whatever last night are guys I didn't know that I don't think were there in training camp. They had a guy starting last night that introduced himself on the starting lineups that I'd never heard of.
He was the fifth corner that made the team.
Yeah,
he was the last one.
And I was like, they're just not a good team. And because they've got Dak and CD and Micah and Tank, we think, okay, they're a good team. They lost 21 last year. The Patriot guy, the DB, help me.
Oh, Stephon Gilmore?
Stephon Gilmore. They lose Gilmore. They lose Bland. They lose Parsons. There's no depth. They don't have any talent on that roster.
They can't get a pass rush to save their lives.
And don't forget, and again, I get killed for this, Dak Prescott was a 4th-round draft pick. He's a great leader. He's a good quarterback. He's a middle-of-the-road quarterback, but he's not Patrick Mahomes. And for some reason, he's up there talking like he is. He thinks he is. They have no panic at 3-4. They think they're going to go 13-4.
I don't know if there's no panic because, as we saw from Trevon Diggs, that they're mentally weak. Let's just say. I think when you look at this team, Dak is continuing to have one of the worst year he's had in the last 5. I would say. He has 2 interceptions again for the 3rd week in a row. He's now at 8. They're through 7 games. He threw only 9 last season as the runner-up in MVP.
How many has he got now?
He's got 8.
He's already thrown more interceptions than he did all of last year.
No, he's 1 short.
Okay.
Next game, I'm sure he'll get there because he's on a streak. He's on a streak that is hitherto undreamt of for even him.
Yeah, I mean, on offense, it looks to me like they just don't have any real playmakers. Now, granted, I left when things started getting bad in the 3rd quarter, and I drove home. So, I saw the box. I saw the Dak and CD finally got it going later in the game. But it just seems like when you really need to have a play, who are you going to go to, right? 87's good. 88's good. 9's a work in progress. 1's good. But, you don't have that Deebo Samuel that you know is going to be open, you can count on, you can move the sticks. They don't have that. It's very apparent to me that 23 is the best running back on this football team, just with the eye test, not without, the way he moves. And, he wasn't available last night.
What happened there?
I'm not really sure. They said he was sick before the game.
And then he came out and signed autographs and was on the sideline?
Yeah. So
that doesn't pass the smell test either.
I'm with you in a lot of ways. But again, I'm not there. I don't know, and I don't want to accuse anybody of something that they may not be guilty of. But, I guess to further Don's point, it just doesn't look like a very good football team.
Is there a
lack of talent?
Is there a question in either of your minds that Brock Purdy is better than Dak Prescott?
I don't know. I mean, he
I don't
makes
think it's
plays.
close.
I don't know if you just seen him play the week before against Philly, where he was turning it over like crazy.
He played
well last night, though. No doubt about it.
He's a really good football player, but he's not. He doesn't have the measurables to be like great. He doesn't have Mahomes' arm. He doesn't have Burrows' stature.
All he's done is play well.
He wins.
Yeah,
he wins. Yeah.
One thing that was painfully apparent to me when it comes to Dak, the second interception I would argue was worse than the first because it's just a ball you can't throw. You can't force that to CD no matter what. You just throw it away.
I just saw
and there should have been a third on the last drive.
I saw people spitballing on the internet too about, isn't it funny that 88 never tries to break those passes up? It's like, come on.
No.
Man. I mean,
the other thing about
that wasn't getting broken up.
The other thing about Dak is what made Dak really good early in his career when he took over for Roma was he was a rookie, he was young, and he ran a lot.
I was just about to say that.
He ran a lot of that RPO stuff at Mississippi State, and you saw some of it in Dallas. And then Chuck and I have been saying for the last 3 years, ever since the broken ankle,
he's
this lumbering, slow, no twitch. I mean, it looks like it hurts him to boot out.
It looks
and run.
different than it did before.
Yeah.
He doesn't run anymore. Like, he had a wide open lane, I want to say on the last drive, maybe the second play. He
And
had
is
an
he
open
heavier?
lane. He can't run.
Is he heavier in his like in
Or
his
he
rear,
won't run. It's
rear
one of the
ends,
two.
thighs? He looks.
He's thicker in terms of, I think he's more physically built. I mean, I don't, by no means do I think he's fat.
No, I don't think he's fat. I just think he's slower.
He's in a relationship now. He's gained a little weight, don't we all? Let's get to the Trevon Diggs of it all. So just to, if you haven't seen it yet, just to paint this in a little bit of context, he went into the locker room after the game, immediately looks at his phone, looks at Twitter, allegedly saw a tweet from WFAA's Mike Leslie kind of calling out Diggs for lack of hustle on the George Kittle play. It was a play where, and I didn't queue it up, which I should have. It was a play where Trevon Diggs was in man coverage, not on Kittle, but Kittle's breaking loose and running for a touchdown, and Trevon Diggs does not look to be giving the best effort. Let's just say that. He exits the locker room, goes out to the gaggle of reporters, and confronts Mike Leslie saying this.
Took from that? Out of that whole play, that's what you took from that? You don't know football. You can't do nothing that I do. You can't go out there and do nothing. Stay in your lane, buddy. Stop playing with me, bro.
Just asking a question, Trevon. I mean, I'm happy to have you answer the question.
Out of that whole play, that's what you took for that? That's what you got from that whole play, that's what you got from that?
I'm asking you. We can talk about it more. What were you doing?
That's the best part was the last part. Talk about D's nuts.
Matt, you're.
I didn't bleep that. Sorry, I should have. I forgot that there was cussing in there.
Yeah, Matthew.
All right.
FCC violation.
Yeah, it's a YouTube show. All right. We're not going to get an FCC violation. We're not playing this on the air.
I think there's a product out that goes by that name.
My bad. But anyway, that was really funny. However, it shows the mindset that this team has right now. They are, in my view, a weak team mentally. When you are coming after reporters, immediately going into the locker room, looking at Twitter, saying, you know what, F you, I'm going to go out and confront him about something that he said. How you just lost in embarrassing fashion. Your defense got destroyed in the second half, mainly in the third quarter.
Ed Werder said it best. Ed Werder tweeted out, worry about stopping the other team than instead of worrying about Mike Leslie.
It reminded me a little bit of, in the Bronco game, for some reason, Sean Payton ran a fake field goal on fourth down and didn't go for 60 yards, and then he ran a fake pass on fourth down when they were already up 21. And J.C. Horn took offense to that and started shouting at Sean Payton that they're trying to run the score up. Sean said, play better. That's what you should be worried about, not running the score up. Play better. That's exactly what I think about with Trevon Diggs. Like, if you're mad that someone's calling you out, then don't get called out because you can play better.
He needs to go. Look, Dak Prescott needs to go over to him, put his arm around him, and say, do you know how much crap I take on Twitter? Right? Dak takes more criticism from all media in Dallas, outside of Dallas, nationally, on all those shows, Stephen A. Smith, all those, and just goes up there time after time and says the right things and says they're going to be better. And to be reactionary over a media tweet, we had that happen here with the Spurs last year. I did. And it's like, look, these younger players are so used to, I don't know why they're so sensitive, but they're so worried about what people think or say of them on social media that he's going to his locker room. The first thing they're doing is checking their phones to see what people are saying about him. Fine. If you see that Mike Leslie is criticizing you, sit in your locker, wait for the guy to ask you a question, and answer the question. And answer it any way you want. You can go after him then. Go after him there. But to go out of the locker room and confront a reporter for a tweet, it just shows you how thin-skinned, not just Trevon, but this generation of player is worried about what's being said about him on social media.
Yeah, it's always a tough one, right? Because it's easy for us to sit here and say what you would do if this was you being criticized at the rate that these guys are. But, yeah, there's an old line about never let them see you sweat, right? Like, don't give it any energy and just – because now it's a thing.
Right.
Right? You
Now you're going to have to continue
You made
answering
it into
questions,
more
too.
than what it was. And, you know, I don't know. I think there's a time and a place for everything, and that was definitely not the time, nor it was the place.
Nor the organization. Right? You would think that this organization, as good as they are with the media, and as good as they are with taking criticism and being available, that somebody, Jerry or Steven or somebody, Tad.
Well, he wasn't there last night.
But
so.
somebody's going to have a conversation with Diggs. That was just frustration, immaturity. And I like Trevon. I think he's a mature kid. But he just can't do
Yeah,
that.
I do too. And I mean, there's a lot about him that I appreciate too, because I think he's the reluctant guy to get out in front of the camera. Although he did it, I think, pretty much every game this year except the last game. You know, I think there's a little bit of him that he's shy, but he's super thoughtful. You know, obviously a very cerebral player too. But I think he does it because he knows he's got the bag. He's one of the guys that's getting the bag. He is, whether he knows he's one of the leaders of the team. So I think he does the media stuff reluctantly. So when things aren't going his way, I mean, I can understand why, he thought, okay, I've been good to you guys. I've been doing stuff outside my comfortability. And then you do me like this. So, I mean, I get that.
Chris, you got anything?
Well, I got Tothamax Guevara. He said he's been a Cowboys fan since 1972, since he was 12 years old. And he said this is the worst he's ever felt about the Cowboys season. He said they may not even win another game.
1 in 15. There was one there 1 in 15 season there in like '88.
Yes.
I would have felt a little worse about
And
that
Troy
one.
didn't win that game.
But the thing is, at least you knew there was Aikman there. You could see light at the end of the tunnel.
I think of the Chan Gailey, Dave Campo years. There were some bad teams there, even in Tony Romo's career.
Fair enough. Speaking of the next 5 games for the Cowboys, real quick before we move on because we're going a little long. But next 5, give me win or loss. At Atlanta at noon on a Sunday.
Win.
Okay.
I'm having a hard time going there with any of these actually after what I saw last night, especially with an extra week to prepare.
So
I'm gonna have a hard time saying anything. I got to see it to believe it at this point.
So loss? You think they lose that game?
Yeah.
Home to the Eagles.
Loss.
They play crap at home. So
Well, they're lucky that I don't know that the Eagles are playing a whole lot better. Although that was a pretty good performance yesterday. So I'm now speaking out of both sides of my mouth. No, I'm gonna
loss.
for the rest of the schedule. I got to see it first.
Home Texans on Monday night.
Loss.
Same.
Loss. At Commanders.
Loss.
Loss.
I don't know. No, I'll give them that one.
All right, so 1 and 3 for Chuck, and then home to the Giants on Thanksgiving.
Win.
All right, so 2 and 3, 1 and 4. So it's not looking good, guys. Not looking good at all.
I had 2.
Did you have 2? Who else do you have them winning against?
Atlanta.
Oh, okay, so 2 and 3. So they'll be bad.